Hey everybody, welcome to the Bowfishing Buzz, brought to you by AMS Bowfishing and
Megamouth Bowfishing as well.
How'd you like that intro there, Schmitty?
Totally unbiased opinion, Matt. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I do like it. That's a clean beat,
Clean
right there.
cut.
Yep.
Clean cut. That's going to be our new intro for the season 5 here.
Yeah.
Of the Bowfishing Buzz.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice and short. We'll get right to the point.
Absolutely.
This is Bowfishing Time Talk. And what do we got, Schmitty? It's March Madness, huh?
It is. It's March Madness. We've got the basketball March Madness.
You bet.
And then we've got probably what I would like to say our preferred March Madness. We like to refer as AMS March Madness.
That's right.
Because usually in the month of March, we end up getting the boat out or at least doing something to be able to shoot some fish up here in cold weather Wisconsin.
Yeah. We've got a lot of snow on the ground yet.
Oh,
a lot of ice.
we
But
just
we
just got dumped on this last weekend again with snow.
Right. But stuff is starting to open up. The creeks are going to start opening up. Those flowages are going to start opening up where the creeks run in and stuff like that. Creeks.
Yep.
Creeks.
Creeks and cricks. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Let
me ask you this, Matt.
What's up there,
before we
Schmitty?
dive into all the bowfishing news that we 100% have for everybody today, we have an AMS-wide March Madness bracket.
Yes, we do.
Things get a little tense. The trash talk flows.
Starts tomorrow.
It's perfect. It's amazing. Who do you got winning it all?
All right. I've got 2 number 1 seeds meeting in the championship game.
Okay.
Alabama,
Okay. Oh, going with the young guns. Great team, though.
Houston.
Oh, I like it. Okay.
Yep.
And are you going to tell me who comes out on top?
Winner is going to be Houston.
Okay, Houston. Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, they've been number. Alabama's number 1 overall, but they were flirting with that number 1 spot all year.
Right. I tell you what, I really wanted. I wanted to put Marquette in the championship game.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yep.
I haven't gone to the Final Four.
Yep.
But then getting beat by Alabama.
Sure.
And then my other Final Four 2 are Gonzaga versus Houston.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm rolling like what you said. I'm rolling with Marquette. I don't have them winning it, but I got them in the championship game.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Nice.
I do. I'm like, you know what? I kind of started watching their games later in the year. The Badgers didn't even make the tournament. That's too bad.
Yeah.
So I'm going to roll with Marquette, and I got them losing in the championship game to Drew Timmy's Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
Yes, I got Gonzaga the 3 seed. I got
Nice.
them winning it all. So we'll see.
I'm worried about Purdue.
You think Purdue's going to be good?
I think so.
I just don't think I know they're number 1 seed. They got Edey, that Zach Edey. He's like 7'2" or something. He's huge.
Yeah.
I just don't think of Purdue as a basketball
I know.
powerhouse. That's the only thing. Here we're turning into a college basketball podcast.
Yeah, let's get into some
But,
bowfishing and
yeah,
stuff, I guess.
yeah. But okay, so just so everybody knows, when you're watching March Madness and Gonzaga's dominating, you can be like, oh boy, Schmitty's gonna be happy about that.
Kansas.
Kansas is the only thing with Kansas. I don't think they're going to repeat. They won it last year. It'd be the first team I think ever, or I'm not. That could be wrong.
Right.
But not many teams have done it, if any.
Right. And you got Duke sitting there as a number
Yeah.
5 seed, which is strange.
Watch them make it to the Final Four.
Exactly.
You know, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
But,
Fun times.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
always a fun time of the year. I'm sure there's a ton of you bowfishers out there that love NCAA basketball just as much as we do, and I'm sure a bunch of you guys are all on those brackets and stuff like that there and got them all filled out. And,
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of fun this
Absolutely.
time of year.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one thing we're going to highlight, Matt, as everybody listening knows, in these last couple podcasts, we have started to share a special podcast exclusive
Absolutely.
code.
Yes.
And it'll be a discount code that you can apply on the website to a given product that we talk about in the podcast. When you hear this noise, fantasy. That's when you're going to know. We're going to play that noise some point throughout the podcast, just like we have done the last couple episodes. When you hear that, one of us is going to say a code for the exclusive product that we talk about.
Right.
And what's the product that we're going to highlight this week,
Schmitty,
Matt?
we are going to be doing some awesome deals on the AMS Hooligan V2
Oh, yeah.
bow.
Yep.
And the Recurve Water Mock. Some good specials on there.
Absolutely. And we sell them as kits and bows. And this given special will be for the bow only.
Correct. Bow only on these deals right here.
Our water mock and our hooligan. I think you can speak to the hooligan. We've been shooting the hooligan for many years now. It's just the trench cams.
The trench cams are huge in bow fishing.
Yes.
The stainless limb pocket, bolts, nuts, and stuff like that
Yep.
are a tremendous upgrade from the past Hooligan.
Yeah. Yep. The rapid adjust posts,
the wrap
40
cams.
to 50, so simple, so easy. You don't need to put it in a bow press to change anything out.
Right.
It's a fish killing machine for sure.
And for a lot of you that don't know exactly about the wrap cams, there's 2 posts on the cams that you put your bowstring to. All right. If you only have one of those posts where your strings go, and say your bow is a 50-pound bow, Derek.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Now you have a shooter that comes on that can't draw 50 pounds back. So what do? You loosen up the limb pocket bolts to turn that draw weight down.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So you turn it down to 40, 37. Okay. Now they can pull it back. But what you lost is a lot of kinetic energy because your limbs and everything stretched, your string stretched.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, with the Hooligan V2 wrap cams, the bow has a max of 50-pound draw weight. So you have a 50-pound post.
Yep.
You also have a 40-pound post. So now if you want to turn that bow down to 40 pounds, you put it on the 40-pound post.
Right on the cam itself.
Right on the cam itself.
Yeah. Yep.
But yet you didn't have to turn the limb pockets down.
Right.
You didn't have to stretch those open.
Yep.
You didn't have to stretch that string to lose kinetic energy.
Yep.
It's an awesome bow. I absolutely love it. And like you said, Derek, those trench cams.
Oh,
it
yes.
holds that string in place when people take poor shots.
Yeah. Yep.
Because
which bow fishing, I mean, you're flying all over the place.
Yes.
It's fast action.
you're reaching around the side of the troller,
Yeah.
around this way, around the stick, and stuff like that.
Right.
So we do have poor shots when it comes to bow fishing, not like sitting up in your tree stand hunting a deer.
Right.
Where we have perfect form. We got the release on and all that stuff for shooting fingers and stuff. So.
Yeah. And that's why I think these bows are so important that people know that the bows that we have here, they are bow fishing specific bows. Like we just touched on, the rapid adjust post, the trench cams, the water mock is a takedown recurve. You can bundle that down and store it anywhere. Lightweight, so easy to assemble, disassemble. They're more made for bow fishing than your typical bow would be.
Right. Magnesium riser with that green koi AMS is awesome looking on there.
Yep.
There's tip removers on the riser
I was just going to
say
that. Yep. There's a little slotted area you can put your tip in to tighten it up so you're not constantly, rubbing your fingers raw from loosening.
How many times have you shot or been shooting and pretty soon that tip kind of gets hard to turn?
Mm-hmm.
You just stick that in there and blip.
Yep.
Loosens it right up.
Yep.
Slick little deal.
Yeah. Not to mention, Megamouth mounts to both bows. And that's a killer combo in itself right there.
Yep.
Megamouth works on either one of those as well as a AMS retriever, obviously.
Absolutely.
So yeah, just be listening for that little jingle, and we're gonna have a code here somewhere throughout this podcast.
When you hear this, be ready because we're gonna be giving away that secret code, and you're gonna want to take advantage of it because it's a sweet deal.
It's a very sweet deal.
Yeah,
very cool. So, and we also, Matt, I think we got our apparel sale going on.
That is still going on. Right, correct. Yep, apparel sale on certain apparel, which is, I looked at the sale tab today on the AMS website.
Yep,
and it says certain AMS apparel.
Yep.
There's a bunch of
There's a bunch of it, and it's up to 50% off some of the items.
On certain items,
yes, on specific items, it's up to 50% off.
Yeah, this sweatshirt right here that I have on.
Yep.
Bowfishing's here, man.
Yeah.
You need to start getting your stuff ordered for the season, your gear ordered, extra arrows, extra replacement tips, extra line. If you're new to bowfishing, combo kits, bow kits, we've got it all. And then you also want to look cool, man, when you're holding up that big old common carp.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Look good, shoot good.
Look good, shoot good.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep. Words to live by. Mm-hmm. Yep. And also, just to mention here, guys, for everybody that's listening, we made a Facebook and a Instagram page for the podcast exclusively. We would always share that information on the AMS Bowfishing Facebook and Instagram pages, which we probably still will. We want to reach that audience. But just in case, people are wanting a little bit more exclusive, you guys love listening to the show, that Bowfishing Buzz Instagram and Facebook page will have a little bit of behind the scenes. We'll talk a little bit more about what all goes into a podcast. We'll obviously announce when we have a podcast out. We'll put our preview clips on there, the whole deal. And as always,
a bunch of fun little stuff on there.
Oh, yeah.
Some reels and stuff.
Yeah. As always, you guys, if you guys ever have any topics you guys want us to touch on when you're listening, or questions or anything, feel free to get a hold of us. We would love to have a whole podcast that's just Q&A.
Yeah.
I know we had one back when we first started doing these, and it did really well, and it was good for both of us because we had to research some topics that we maybe weren't as familiar about. Mm-hmm. So, and you can find those. It is AMS Bowfishing Buzz on both platforms.
Right. Instagram and Facebook.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. So.
Yep. And this past weekend, 2 weekends ago, was the BAA spring meetings. And I just want to kind of go through some of the stuff that they went through. The board members, and we've had him on our show.
Yep.
President is Pete Gregoire. Yep. Vice president is my good buddy, Jody Bagulke.
Oh, Jody.
Secretary/treasurer is Christina Hayden. Sanctioning director is Jeremiah Norton. And Rich Porter is a state representative director, and we've had Rich on here also.
Sure. Yep. Yep. And Diana Claggs, is that last name? Claggus. Diana Claggus was appointed to the BAA youth coordinator.
Right.
I think that's cool that there's a youth coordinator by itself. That's such an important role, obviously, as we talk about the next generation of bull fishermen.
Right. And that's great for her to step up because Randy Woodward had been doing that for years.
Yep.
You know, and Randy does an unbelievable job with his youth worlds, and now he's got the women's worlds that he's been taking care of for years. And Randy just finally, stepped down and needed more time for his other stuff going on right now. So, that's awesome that Diana stepped up for that right there.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Also, a big thanks to Jamie Carroll for his role in taking care of the BAA youth records, and Pete Gregoire for taking care of the adult BA records. And that's huge because we look at that a lot, Derek.
Yes,
we talk about it
do.
on a lot of our podcasts.
That pertains especially to this podcast.
Right.
The record holdings and whatnot. But yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. Also, congratulations to the new BAA Hall of Famers, Nick Sanders, Mark Jenkins, Marcus Hayes, and Scott Baxter. Great job, guys. That's such a cool thing that the BAA has to recognize individuals like that. So congrats to you guys. Right. Well done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
And also, congratulations to the Youth Bowfisher of the Year, Logan Gregoire. He has won that 3 times.
Oh, well, good Lord. He's got a dynasty going.
He does.
3 times. That's awesome.
But now I believe Logan is at the age now.
Does he get out of it?
To where he will be up into the adult categories.
All right.
But, I mean, you know how cool that is?
Oh, God. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Youth Bowfisher of the Year 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Shooting big fish. And that's a big hats off to his father, too, Pete.
Yeah.
For getting him out there on the outdoors and making him, he's part of the team and stuff like that and getting him out there.
I think when you and I were down in Kentucky one year, we ran into Pete at a boat landing. I think Logan was with him.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. I remember him saying that was his son, and I'm like, and then just reading that, I'm like, I wonder if that was Logan. Okay, gotcha. So he's obviously always out with Dad shooting fish and everything. That's right. That's very cool.
Right. Another thing to remember is registration is now open for the AMS Big 20, June 3rd and 4th. Last I checked, we were up to 32 teams, I believe that was.
Yeah. Who's going to take home 10 grand in one night?
10 grand.
10 grand. Yep.
I know we talked about last podcast. What would you do with 10 grand?
What would you do with 10? Oh, that's right. Yes. Yes, we did.
That was kind of fun.
Yep. So, make sure to pre-register for that as well.
Right.
Kind of pertaining to the podcast today, Bowfisher of the Year, Dustin Maisel. You guys have heard us say that name so many times.
We've ran them words across the Bowfishing Buzz podcast a bunch of times.
Yeah, I think almost every podcast. Actually, I remember when we don't say his name on a podcast, we're like, Dustin, what are you doing, buddy? Come on, no records this year or this week or this month or whatever. He has 24 state and world records submitted. Yeah. That's crazy. You want to run us through, Matt, what kind of species he has?
This is crazy. This is not all of them neither. This is just
a little sample.
A sample of some of these. We got the Pampano. We've got the, I'm reading here backwards. Sorry about that. We got the striped burrfish or the puffer, smooth butterfly ray, smooth back puffer, sea robin, bluefish, African pompano, spotfish, pigfish, electric ray, yellowfin Manhattan, Atlantic sharp-nosed shark, rough tail stingray, southern stingray, flounder, lockdown sheepshead, and a bunch more that I'm not going to list because the list goes on and on. To be honest with you, Derek, I don't know how this guy sleeps.
Yeah.
All right. So he's shooting all these records, okay? Now listen to this. He's also a guide at the South Coast Safaris.
Oh, my God.
He's a charter boat captain for Fish Kabob Bowfishing charters. He's owner of Puddin' Proof Productions, owner of Gotcha Wildlife Removal, owner of Meisel's Mounts Taxidermy, and owner at the Hunting Company.
He doesn't sleep. No. He just plugs himself in, recharges, and he's good to go. Good Lord.
Wow. This could be like a 2-part podcast. I kind of got a feeling.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild.
There'd be so much to be able to talk with him about because obviously the guy is doing a ton of stuff.
And just you mentioning all these different fish. Think of the I'm trying to think what the documentation that he must have to keep track of what records, he's got to know what the records are and then know when he shoots a fish that could possibly be a new record,
right. And I'm certain, I'm quite certain that some of these species probably have never been bowfished.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to know with all these records, oh yeah, you know what? That's going to be a record. We're going to weigh that one in, submit it. It's crazy.
Yeah. So
Hats off.
It's going to be really cool to get Dustin on here. I know we've been saying it, and finally he did contact us here. And thanks for him for reaching out to us.
Yeah, very cool.
And wanted to join us here on the podcast. So it's going to be a good podcast.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to give him up a call. We got a couple other things here that we're going to touch on. We've got some BAA record fish.
Right.
Congrats to Mark McMillan on his BAA South Carolina state record white catfish weighing 3 pounds, 5 ounces.
Nice.
Also, congrats on his South Carolina state record bowfin weighing 14 pounds, 15 ounces. Nice shooting, Mark McMillan.
Nice shooting. Good job. Congratulations.
Oh my goodness, that's such a nice noise. Fish on 50. FISHON 50. If you know, you know. Fish on 50.
And we've got William Ard on his BAA South Carolina state record gizzard shad weighing 2 pounds, 12.8 ounces.
Nice shooting, William.
Let me ask you something, Schmitty.
Yeah.
All these records, Wisconsin records, BAA records, world records, state records. If you could target one fish to get a record in, what would you like to target for a fish?
If I could get the BAA record?
Yes.
Buffs.
Smallmouth
Smallmouth buff.
buff.
Smallmouth buff. Yep.
Okay.
Just to claim that type of category.
You know who you have to beat for that, right?
Yeah. Nothing. No problem. No, I'll never beat that. Well, I mean, odds are low.
Do you know who has it?
Well, Dennis?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I just think with talking about that and going through that and everything, I think that would be a very cool thing to shoot. I love how they look. I love that, they kind of have that extended little, not nosy beak sucker looking thing on them. I think that's just a really cool fish.
The cool thing about the buffs, especially the smallmouths, is they look alien almost as far as their small little face.
Yeah.
And then behind the face, it goes like the Hulk. Everything just goes
It just blows up.
Yeah. The shoulders, the hump, of course, why the name Buffalo. Yep. Because of the hump behind their head.
Yep. And do you remember what Dennis's record is? The exact weight of it?
90.
Okay, I thought it was
97, 98. Yeah.
That's wild. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, let me return that to you. If you could pick a record, what would you pick? What species?
Big head.
Big head? Okay, I gotcha.
I'd like to have a big head record.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
I love the hunt.
It is different. It's very cool.
I love the hunt for them. The one that I shot last year, 82, 83. I can't remember exactly what it was. Just the hunt for that. We were on the water at sunset, and I shot that fish at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
And that was the second fish I shot.
Sure.
Now, did we get other fish in between there? Yeah. Dennis shot some and stuff like that there. But we saw their ones, and, it's just the hunt. And then to find, it's like bow hunting. You're waiting for that certain deer, that certain aged deer to come into the food plot and stuff, and you're sitting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Same thing with this big head hunting. You're scanning. All of a sudden, there's one.
Yeah.
Now you got to hit the target.
Yeah. Right.
Now you got to hit it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Would you say, just from when I've done it with you, I would say that's the most you're hunting those fish.
Yeah.
You don't have lights on and generators. You're rolling as quiet and as softly as you can.
Right.
And like you said, you're scanning. And I don't really know of any other fish, hunting gators obviously is a little bit like that, but that's a whole nother category in of itself. But as far as hunting those fish, I think that's such a cool experience to see that.
Right. Absolutely. And like you said, bowfishing is more hunting than fishing.
Sure.
Hands down.
Yeah.
But when you get to those big heads, go into that stealth mode, that's hunting fish.
I remember the first time I was down with you in Kentucky, when we were chasing big heads. And you showed me how we were doing it with our Spec Ops lights that we have here at AMS, scanning across the water. I remember you guys were doing it, and you'd flash. And I remember I saw the first fish of the night that we saw scanning. And I remember I scanned it, and I had my light, and I saw it. That big white bucket mouth at the surface. It's crazy looking if you've never seen it before. And I put my light on it, and I held my light on it. And I remember saying to you, I said, Matt, there's one right here. And I held my light on it. And the time I took to turn to you and say, Matt, look, there's one right here. I remember turning around, and that fish was gone. I held and you're like, you can't. Sometimes, some nights are a little bit spooky. You can't leave your light on like that.
Right.
So then every time after that, we'd see one. We'd flash it. Our light would come across it. Boom. Light comes off. Okay, guys, there's one at 3 o'clock. Let's try to get closer to it. And then you'd get it full draw, and then boom, you'd flash them again, and then you'd shoot. Right. I just remember being like, wow, that's so cool.
And sometimes when you do that too,
they're still gone.
And they're still gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the cool thing is, sometimes when they're feeding on the surface and you spook them, you hear the you hear the boil in the water.
Yeah.
Well, if they're down a little bit feeding, you hit them with the light, shut it off, sneak over there, they're gone.
Right.
They're gone.
Right.
Just like that.
We were down.
No noise. They just sink.
I remember Dennis telling me once, and it was pitch black at God knows what time of night, pitch black. And I remember him saying, if we get it right, when you spook them, he said, this is not a good thing, but he said, sometimes if the fish are really up, silvers and big heads, and one spooks and it splashes, I remember he told me, he said, it sounds like gravel being dumped or rocks falling down a cliff or something. I remember thinking, what? How can that sound like that?
Yeah.
20 minutes later, that exact thing happened. We shined a fish, it spooked, and that fish spooking domino affected down the river.
Right.
And it was crazy how long it lasted. How long it and it did sound like an avalanche. Yeah, of something like falling. I'm like, that's exactly what that sounded like. Yeah.
Now, I've been on the opposite end of that, Derek, where something spooked them a long ways away from me.
Oh.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, what's that noise? It's like,
and it's constant.
It came come right through you.
Oh my gosh! Yep. Wow, that's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yep. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, very, very neat, very neat. So,
but I think, Derek, we're going to give our guest, Dustin Maisel, a call.
Yeah.
After these breaks.
Okay.
Why I Bowfish. Hunting fish with a bow. Non-stop action. Never slow. By day, by night. Great shots. Great fights. With family, with friends. Trash talk never ends. And kids, they love it. If they miss, think nothing of it. By foot, by boat, by board or canoe. How you do it is up to you. Aim low. Shoot fast. Watch your shadow. Watch the grass. Shoot carp, raise, or gar. Shoot them close. Shoot them far. Stout arrow. Barb tip. Retrieve a reel. Let it rip. Bowfishing. Give it a shot.
And welcome back to the Bowfishing Buzz. D. Schmitty here. Matthew over here.
Yes.
And one thing that I'd like to touch on a little bit here before you give Dustin a call, Derek, is this special key code.
Yes. This hidden code that you guys
heard already.
You guys heard already. I just want to specify exactly what that deal is. You are getting $50 off.
Wow.
A hooligan bear bow or watermark bear bow. All right? I'm not going to say the code again. You got to find it in the podcast. I just wanted to specify, let everyone know exactly what that
$50 off, Derek?
Yeah.
Wow.
50.
Amazing.
Yeah. Let's give old Dustin a call.
Let's give Dustin a call.
Here we go.
So,
hey, Dustin. How's it going? This is Matthew and Derek from the Bowfishing Buzz, man. What's going on?
Hey, Dustin.
what's up, dude?
We are finally so glad that you were able to join us here on the Bowfishing Buzz podcast, because I'm sure that you've heard from friends down there that we've kind of been talking about you here at the last recent podcast with some of your records, and we were shocked when Dustin wasn't on there for his BA records.
Yeah.
And we were just always talking about you, saying how we'd like to have you on there. So, it's finally cool to have you on here, Dustin. Very cool.
Yeah, I should have been on there more often. Y'all need to figure out the rest of my records so y'all can talk about me some more.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep.
So, Dustin, we're going to get this rolling off here. Tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and how you were bit by the bowfishing bug. How old were you when you started bow fishing, and what was your bow fishing memory that you have, your first one?
Yeah, I'm Dustin Maisel. I bow fish a whole lot. I'm a big hunter as well. I like to go a lot of different places and bow fish and hunt and stuff. I own a charter service and have been for about 15 years now. So I am very good at fishing, with customers and stuff in my area. As far as like when I got started, honestly, I was probably around 12 or 13 years old, probably. I shot bows since I was basically born, like had the little kitty bows and stuff like that, and was into bow hunting and that kind of thing. But I didn't know what bow fishing was until about that age. And honestly, we thought that we invented it because we didn't have any equipment, and we had never heard of this being done or anything. So we saw fish and we wanted to shoot them with the bow and arrow. So we made this stuff. And this stuff was absolutely horrible and, it's not a good idea whatsoever. But, like, we would, like, drill holes in, like, aluminum arrows and, like, run fishing lines to, like, a bottle that, like, somebody would throw in the air while the other person shot and stuff. Like, it was
wow. That's good.
Absolutely ridiculous. But eventually we got spinning reels and stuff like that we would, like, take to a bow and that kind of thing, which, led up to us actually figuring out that AMS existed. And I was able to actually buy a reel and stuff then.
Cool.
So,
very cool.
That's awesome.
That's kind of where it began.
That's
cool.
awesome.
Very
That's
cool.
awesome. 12 years old, and he's down there having the time of his life bow fishing.
Yep.
And down in Alabama, I'm assuming, Dustin?
Yeah, that was I was shooting like carp on golf courses and mullet and stingrays and stuff off my back deck and that kind of thing.
Now, how cool is that? Being a kid down there and doing that and thinking that we are the inventors of bow fishing.
That's a cool feeling.
That is. That's really cool.
Yeah. So, Dustin, you always get brought up on our podcast, obviously, and we kind of shot off a rough number of records that you have, but how many individual records do you have?
I don't know if they separate like world records from state records, because basically if you get one world record, you also get the state record.
Sure.
But if you counted them both, it would be over 40 now.
Oh my gosh.
If it was just, if you didn't, then it would be still over 30, I think now.
Wow.
Some of which, I've been beaten. Other people have beat me, which
Sure.
I will also have to beat them again and stuff like that. But, but that's so some of them are gone, I guess. Now some of them I didn't are old and stuff, and I have to. I guess the new video record system and stuff need to be put on there, and
Right.
also there's some species that I would like to be entered on there that they didn't. At the moment, they don't accept. Like I shot a bunch of crustaceans that were records, and mollusks. They didn't accept either, and also like certain species of like flounder and stuff like that too. Hopefully one day they'll be able to
Sure.
To accept those. Like flounder right now is just flounder. It's not like
Right.
Gulf flounder and southern flounder or
Sure.
anything like that. It's just
Sure.
flounder.
Yep. Gotcha. Dustin, of all these amazing fish that you have had experience to chase, do you have a favorite and an experience that really sticks out to you?
Yeah, there's a few, but some of the hardest ones are, these fish that you just never really see often. Like
Right.
all the rest of the fish I have patterns. I can go to where I know they're going to be a certain time of year and stuff like that, and get on these, bigger fish. But some of them, like seriously, it's just like luck of the draw and stuff. Like if you fish as much as I do out there, and you only see these a couple of times in your life, like the rarity of this fish and stuff. Like a stargazer, a guitar fish, an octopus, ribbon fish, stuff like this is just you don't ever see it.
Right.
And but we have shot all that stuff, but that was in the past before I turned them in for records and stuff like that. But those are very memorable to me, just because the chances of us seeing it again are so great because I'm out there so very often, and you never do. So that's just that's an accomplishment on its own, just to see these, just to see them one time.
Right.
And hopefully I'll be able to shoot them again to put them in the record books and stuff.
Right.
Also, there's like snook, for instance, I do not have any record for snook, but I shot record snook trying to get a big one. I was like, when I put it in there, I'm the only one who has snook right now, but I'm trying to get a big one. So, it took me a long time trying to find them and get on them and stuff like that. Finally got on them, and I was able to shoot them often and stuff, but still nothing real big. And Travis from Twisted Limbs in like Central Florida was like passing through the state and like went out floundering or something like that and shot one that's the record now. It's like 2.5 pounds or something like that.
Oh.
And I'd never seen one that big. Out of all the times I've been out there, hunting and stuff, I've never seen one. Here comes, somebody who fishes, for a day and gets the record.
Yep.
So that's also, he did a good job and everything, but that's something that's memorable as well. That no matter how hard you try, somebody can still always beat you out.
That's right.
But also sharks too. We shoot a good many sharks here, and at certain times of the year, I can put my customers on, lots of sharks, but they're very notorious for missing the sharks. And I don't really know why, it's a big fish and stuff like that. But like the record blacktip I put in the book this year, I had ran many charters in a row. The weather was really nice and stuff. And they were just missing sharks like crazy. So I brought the customers back to the dock, and I was like, I'm going to go out there and see how long it takes me to hit a shark, because this is getting kind of ridiculous. I shot a lot of sharks before, but I went out there and 2 sharks went by. I missed the first one. I shot the second one, and I had that record blacktip in the boat in 15 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, that's memorable as well, because I had to watch so many sharks get missed, so I could get that one in the boat. Wow. But the world record Southern Ray is probably my greatest accomplishment, I think, right now, just because that was, it's taken me many years. That's one of my main target, species. And I've seen, I hunt them. It's a grudge match, a lot of seasons and stuff between me and certain rays and that kind of thing. And I've seen bigger, and shot bigger, but didn't get them in the boat. So that one was an accomplishment. But it probably took me about 30 minutes to get that one in. But my previous record was 151. That one was 153.
Wow.
And the 151, I was by myself, and it took me 2.5 hours to get that one in the boat.
Oh my God, that's a big Southern. I'm guessing the reason it took you a long time to get that in, Dustin. Did it go to the bottom and just suction cup to the bottom?
So I shot it with the AMS big game reel.
Okay.
It swam into the channel. They usually make like a initial burst, and they go pretty far on that first burst, and then they'll start. Once they usually get the deeper water, then they'll stop. Okay. But it went out into the channel and actually took that bottle under the water for like minutes at a time.
No kidding.
I didn't really think that they were really capable of doing that, but I was just riding around with the fan, just like waiting for the bottle to pop up somewhere.
Oh my God!
I'd go and grab it and fight it for a little while and stuff. And I even had her in like a foot of water. She was tired out and stuff like that. And I still couldn't get her in the boat. Every time you touched her, she just explode again and that kind of thing.
Wow.
So that one was about. But the other one, you could tell the actual world record right now, you could tell that Ray had never seen a person before. It just wasn't. It came in on the right tide and stuff, and it wasn't, it cooperated. It took me a little while, and it fought hard and stuff, but it cooperated. I actually had that on video. It's on YouTube, the shot and everything.
No kidding. Cool. Wow. Very cool. Those are big Southerns. Those are big Southerns. 150 plus pound Southerns.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Dustin, if you could give someone advice on how to go about shooting record fish, what would it be? Just because you've obviously have so many of them, is there any little tidbits of information that you'd offer to someone if they also wanted to try to chase down record fish like yourself?
Yeah, the key really is identification. Know what you're shooting, identify species, and look for them and know what's different than everything else. And that's how you're going to kind of hunt down these things that are hard to get. And it'll get fun too, because you'll realize it's a challenge then to find these species and find something bigger than the last thing you got and stuff. It'll add a whole lot of fun to bow fishing itself. And also just log information. Like every time you see a fish, you have to remember exactly where you were, exactly the conditions, exactly what kind of fish it was, and just log it and keep it there so you can come back and continue to try and get that fish, in those exact same conditions. And that will be what's going to get you those fish is putting all the pieces together in order to create your perfect scenario to harvest that fish.
That's awesome. Those are some great pointers there. I think logging information is so crucial in bow fishing. Yeah. Locations, temperatures, wind direction,
weather conditions.
Just like hunting deer,
Yep.
It's so crucial to log information. You were recently recognized with a very special award, the Bowfisher of the Year. Can you tell us what that award meant to you and why you think you received it?
I am super stoked about it, but honestly, I didn't even know that, like, I didn't know I was going to get it at all. I didn't even know I was, like, in the running for it and stuff. Like most things in my life, I've had to work, like, very, very hard for, and then I might get, something that I deserve and stuff. But, like, this, I didn't even know that I was in the running for it, and I got it. So, yes, I was super stoked about it. I'm glad to get recognition any way that I can, because I do work really hard to represent the sport of bow fishing. So.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And you do a great job.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, very cool. And by the way, congratulations on that.
Yes,
Dustin.
absolutely.
That's an awesome award, in a bow fishing career. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
All right, Dustin, I'm going to put you in a little bit of a hypothetical here. Pretend you just found out that you can only bowfish one species of fish for the rest of your life. What species are you choosing and why?
All right, I get this question asked a pretty good bit, actually.
Oh, okay.
I think in all reality, it's split into two, because bow fishing has different, there's different things to bow fishing that you enjoy. And one half of it, I would say, is like the trophy kind of hunting aspect, and the other half is like the joy of shooting fish. So on like the trophy aspect, like sharks is one of my favorite things. That's it's a mean, fast, hard to get animal. That's a challenge to get a big shark in the boat at any time. So I would say that would be like my favorite, just because like that's my water monster, But at the same time, those 100-pound rays, they're old and smart, and they have you figured out as much as you do them. And like I said, with the grudge matches and stuff, like that's my 12-point buck. Like I'm hunting them, I got them figured out, and that's a joy to me to, be able to be at this, competition with them in order to survive and stuff like that.
Yep.
So I would say that those would be, my favorite. But shooting smaller rays and stuff, is not a huge deal to me. I just like the big old ones and stuff. But
Sure.
I would say, call me crazy, my favorite fish to shoot is the smallmouth buffalo.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very nice.
I love riding around with the fan and shooting like 5-pound buffaloes. Just
Really?
riding around and shooting them. Like it's a 5-pound buffalo. It's an easy target. It's easy to get in the boat. And I'm just having like a good old time just riding around smoking some bucks.
Plunk, 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 plinking all day and having a good time. Chasing the smallmouth buffs. That's really cool.
Yeah,
That's really cool. I thought it would have been something like the P-moth buff or
I
the
thought it was
sea
something
robin
crazy.
or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, Dustin, along with your other
Ventures
and hobbies and ownerships of stuff, you also own Fish Kabob Bowfishing. What is Fish Kabob and where is it located, and what can someone expect if they were to go on a trip with you?
Yeah, Fish Kabob Bowfishing is my charter service. I think I've been doing it for about 15 years now. Myself, I've ran over 1,000 charters at this point.
Wow.
I've never had,
Wow.
in those 1,000+ charters, I've never had one single 4-hour saltwater nighttime charter that did not shoot a fish.
Very cool.
So
It's an accomplishment. Very cool.
we try very hard to get, beginners and stuff on fish. And we also have, I hunt Florida, Alabama, and Mississippi most of the time. And I do fresh and saltwater and also some offshore. So we have a huge, range of fish that we can shoot. Lots of different species, and numbers of fish as well. It's a very good, Alabama's home to one of the best fisheries that there is. Fresh Mobile Delta and stuff, and also offshore, very good fishing. And yes, we have fan boats and also trolling motors and stuff like that, so we can kind of cater to just about any type of boat fisherman, whether it's a trophy hunter or a small child and
Very
stuff.
cool. Very
Like
cool.
I had a 7-year-old shoot a 140 pounder one time.
Oh my
wow.
gosh, she's spoiled now. That's crazy. Wow.
I was actually looking at your Facebook page, Dustin, and I do see a lot of kids out there on your pictures, holding up, rays and all those other different speed flounder and stuff like that down there. So that's really cool that you're getting that client out there that clientele out there to experience bow fishing. Really cool. Really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've taken the AMS equipment and stuff, and I've basically built setups to accommodate just about any age of child and stuff. And I put them in that situation where they're going to be successful. I like them to shoot at the water and just have a good time being there and stuff, but I also want them to be successful as well. So I do the very best I can to, actually put them a stingray on the air.
That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Dustin, if any of our listeners are interested in getting a hold of you, do you have any website or social media that you want to plug here for anybody listening that's interested?
Yeah, fishkabob.com is my website. Fish Kabob on Facebook. I post pictures there like every day. Fish Kabob Bowfishing on Instagram. The Hunting Company on TikTok. Dustin Maisel on YouTube. You can see a whole lot of different bow fishing and hunting, and also some of the record fish that I've taken are on YouTube and stuff as well.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
that's
really
really
cool.
cool.
We'll have to check that out.
Yep. One thing that I want to touch back on here, and something you said earlier in our interview here, Dustin, is your shark bow fishing. I was just curious. Are you using like scum lines in the tide waters when the tides go, out or in? I'm assuming that these are inshore shark trips. Is that correct?
Yeah, we hunt in the Alabama state waters.
Okay.
So it only goes so many miles offshore.
Gotcha.
Before it would become federal. And you can use chum as long as it's like off the shore. You can't use it near the shore. And then I would say really my most success is near the shore. So I can't use chum there. So we're seriously hunting them. Like you go where they're at, and then you start chasing sharks. You run them down with the outboard or the fan or whatever the condition may be and stuff. There's lots of waves. It'll be in the break and stuff. And you're shooting sharks that are not coming to you. Like you're going to them.
Right.
So, they're typically moving fast and that kind of thing. Now we run into them inshore when we're stingray fishing and stuff occasionally. It's not a super common thing to just have a shark, swim up to you while you're shooting rays and stuff, but it does happen. I've seen them like way far back in the backwater and stuff too. So they are definitely, in there, but where I shoot most of them is on the edge of the Gulf at night, right where everybody usually is swimming in the daytime and having a good old time. So
That sounds really interesting. I'm going to
look into that.
look into this a little bit here with you, Dustin.
yeah, y'all need to come shoot you a shark.
Right.
That'd be awesome.
Because last time I was shark hunting, we were out of California, and we were like 8 hours offshore, and we're for Mako shark and stuff. We were chumming out there, but something like this here reminds me of what we were just talking about earlier in our podcast there about hunting big heads.
Oh yeah.
Now we're hunting shark,
Right.
And I'm assuming that you can't chum close to shore for good reasons. You probably got some swimmers out there, and you don't want a bunch of scum going past a bunch of swimmers, a scum line and stuff like that there. So probably that's the reason why, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's definitely the deal. I assume anyway. That it's kind of a recent law, but yeah, they just don't want us baiting up sharks around people, I guess you could say.
Right.
And as far as like we have Makos and stuff, and that is like a deep water shark, so we don't see them, near shore very much.
Right.
But that is one of the bigger sharks, but we do have bulls and tigers and stuff like that, and big old hammerheads that come in a pretty good bit. But it's normally a whole lot of like medium to smaller sharks, and they'll frenzy around with the bait balls and stuff like that. And sometimes it's just like mouths Like when you look in the water, it's just like mouths, like flashing and mouths like all around the boat. Like if anything falls, like there'll be like bluefish just like jumping all in the boat just to get away,
right?
And they'll fall back in the water and they automatically land in the mouth and stuff. So it gets pretty nuts if you get on the right tide and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there'll be other days where you ride, all around for 4 hours and see one shark and stuff. So it is definitely based on conditions and stuff. But even without the chum and that kind of thing, you can still get some like serious action sometimes.
Very cool.
Wow.
Very cool.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Well, if any of our listeners are out there are looking for an adventure,
Oh God, yeah,
down south in Alabama and the Gulf shores down there, you need to look up Dustin Maisel with Fish Kabob Bowfishing.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like he's got a bunch of different species that you have a chance of shooting when you go out with him. So we're going to be wrapping it up here, Dustin, and we thank you very much for joining us here on the podcast. And I'm sure that we'll probably have you on in the future as well to talk about some more of your adventures out there, and I'm sure more of your record fish, your BA records out there. But thanks a lot, Dustin, for joining us. I know you were up late last night with the charter, and we were bothering you this morning, waking you up. So
sorry about that.
Thanks for joining us here on the Bowfishing Buzz podcast, Dustin.
Yeah, guys, appreciate it. It's time for me to go fishing again.
All right. You take care, Dustin.
See ya.
Oh, my gosh. You know how you can just talk to someone for a while? I mean, we talked to him for about a half hour?
Yeah.
Through the first 5 minutes, I mean, obviously you should know it because of how many fish he shot, but it's like, yep, this guy knows 80 times as much as I do about anything.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
How cool is that?
Yeah. Yeah. Just how we could break specific experiences down like that.
Right.
That's really cool. I mean, obviously he's top notch.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep. And that's one thing that I hope our listeners get to hear on our Bowfishing Buzz podcast is we're talking to a bunch of bowfishers from all across the states.
Right.
Different regions, different species of fish that they're shooting, and I hope our listeners appreciate that and enjoy that, because we've got some pretty good guests that we are going to be having coming on here in the next couple of podcasts.
Yep.
We've got Cody Klaus with Playing Hooky podcast.
Yep.
And he's also the president of the LLBA, which is the Land O'Lakes Bowfishing Association in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Redden is going to be joining us again. And down the road, we've got a pretty cool guest, Derek, that we're going to be having on.
Yeah.
Mr. Tim Wells.
Yeah. The Slock Master.
Slock Master.
Yep.
He's all known for his crazy African spearing and big Louise and stuff like that there. But Tim also loves bowfishing.
Oh, yeah.
He's been doing it a lot. He started on, I know he was doing a lot of bowfishing on the Illinois River when his son Clint was very young on the silvers and grass carp. He's called me several times, and he's come up here and bowfished in Wisconsin. But, yeah, we've got some special guests coming on. And remember, if you want to be a guest on our podcast, or you have some amazing stories, just some cool bowfishing stories or some adventures that you do, let us know on our Instagram and Facebook pages.
Yep, absolutely.
And we'd be glad to have you on and tell stories, because that's what we enjoy doing is telling the stories of bowfishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know if you feel the same way about this, Matt, but, we obviously do a lot here at AMS and Megamouth. We're always working and doing stuff. And it's like when we get to come up here for an hour and a half, once every 2 weeks, it's like, oh my gosh. To me, it's like it doesn't even feel like work.
It's a relief.
We just get to come up here and just talk.
Yeah.
You and me just get to talk.
Right.
We get to talk to people like us. We get to, we're providing something for our listeners, which is really just a bonus of how much we get to, how much we enjoy doing this.
Right.
And we really hope that relays to the listener too. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, very cool. I'd like to bring something up, Matt, before we end this podcast.
Oh boy.
And this is some wholesome content. This made when I saw this, I was like, that is beautiful. That is amazing. I saw a video of a small boy, I don't know, 10, 12 years old, maybe 13 years old.
Yeah.
I saw a video of him opening up a package that he received at his house. All right. He's cutting through the tape, opening up the box flaps, and I'm sitting there looking. I'm like, what am I watching here? So all of a sudden he takes out a AMS hat. Oh, okay, that's cool. He kind of tosses the hat aside. He pulls out a shirt and tosses it aside. Another AMS shirt, tosses it aside. And I'm like, what is going on here? All of a sudden he reaches down into that box and he pulls out an AMS catalog. All right. And I'm thinking, well, this 13-year-old, I'd have been more pumped up about the hat and the T-shirt. What's going on here? And he looks at that catalog, and he starts jumping up and down. Crazy. Like he's doing jumping jacks. Like he couldn't even speak. He was so excited. Here to find out, Matt had sent this individual some AMS swag, and you autographed and wrote a little note on his catalog. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And did you meet him somewhere? What was the... Did he reach out to us? He had seen you? I
haven't met him. I surely would like to meet him.
Oh, God, yeah.
He's from Michigan. His mother did ask if we were going to be at the Worlds.
Oh, okay, sure.
And our plans as of right now are to go over there and have a booth set up there and talk to everybody bowfishing. But no, I have never met Easton. His mother tagged me in a post a while back on Facebook that at his school was dress up like your favorite person or whatever, your favorite person, dress up like your favorite actor or whatever it was.
I did not. If this is going where I think it's going, I was not aware of this part of the story. Okay, continue.
So he dressed up. He wore his bowfishing swag and all of his stuff to school, and he dressed up as AMS Bowfishing and stuff like that.
Yeah. As much as I like to give you crap about that, Matt, that was so cool.
It was really cool, and it put a smile on my face.
Oh God, yeah.
It really did. And to see this young man, wearing his stuff to school, and then I contacted his mother and I said, "Hey, I want to send Easton a little care package."
Sure.
So we sent him some swag and stuff, and I thought I'd sign the catalog there, wishing him best of luck on his bowfishing adventures.
So my gosh. That's so cool.
It was really cool. I'm hoping that I get a chance to meet Easton over there at Worlds, because she did ask me if we were going to be coming up for that. So
sure.
I hope I get a chance to meet Easton.
Oh God, that was cool. But yeah, I remember watching that video, and as much as I like to give you crap about being famous, it was actually an honest to God wholesome video. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Look how happy that kid is.
Yeah, he was pretty pumped.
That was really cool. Yeah, cool. Just had to float that out there for everybody to hear. But yeah, neat stuff.
Absolutely. So, there she is, Schmitty.
You know what that means.
That wraps up episode 55 of the Bowfishing Buzz, brought to you by AMS Bowfishing and
Megamouth Bowfishing as well.
Hope you enjoyed this podcast here with Dustin Maisel and his, I don't know how many records he had or something like that.
40, over 40 if you count them both.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. And he's got some pretty cool adventures, sounds like, down there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, get a hold of him. Fish Kabob Bowfishing down there in Alabama. Sounds like you'll have a fantastic time.
You got that right, Schmitty. So from all of us here at AMS Bowfishing, we wish you the best of luck. And remember, aim low,
think big. Thanks for listening, everybody.